Shout out to Paul Pelican.
Paul Pelican.
Paul-
He's the 10-year player.
Yeah, he's like an OG of the channel.
Yeah.
He's watched for ages.
Yeah.
What do you suggest Konami could do to make the game better for all, whilst not impacting on their profits negatively? Would you suggest certain ban list changes like cards or fixed dates, etc.? Changing the rarities and pull rates of packs? End of match rules? Also, it's awesome to see Blake back. Takes me back to when I first started listening to the pod.
Oh, thanks, man. That's cool. Okay.
That's
Quick fire. Multiple rarity printings. Pokemon sells more than almost any other game besides Magic at its peak. Yes, it has Pokemon value, but people buy Pokemon product because they can pull really cool cards and high rarity versions of cards. It has shown it won't impact sales. Just multiple rarity print cards, it makes it easier on the casual market.
Literally what they do in the OCG.
Yes,
that's the other
they
thing.
do it.
They do it.
Yes, a guaranteed dead on the ban list has worked amazing when we had it back in the day because you knew when to buy and sell cards. It affects secondary market. It doesn't affect them at all. It might drop sales for packs that have come out 3 months prior, but like fucking okay.
At this point,
on
we
that
can't
as
even
well.
get packs at that point anyway because they're already selling out.
They're already out.
That's true.
Yeah, on that as well. Like, this current format, it has no end date, and I'm kind of sitting here like, oh, this fucking sucks.
Oh, that
If you
last
knew,
ban
you
list
would be
where they're
okay with,
like,
like, if
the next
you-
ban list will be
Yeah,
in the future.
End of
that's right,
match,
there was
end of
super
match
vague on
procedure
this
is
one,
dog
wasn't
shit. Like, I totally understand the idea of YCSs can't be running at 11 PM at night. I get it. I know the old rules did lead to a lot of really, really long rounds, but fuck me, YCSs happen locally. Like, even if you're in the US, you could go to a couple YCSs a year. You go to locals every bloody week. Make it better for them. Just give us better time rules. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I
so
understand
scummy.
that neither side of what we've had and what we have is good. There's
Yeah.
problems with both, but there has to be a happy medium.
Honestly, that's the one I'm kind of like, honestly, I get it. Like, there's a lot of arguments to be like, there were YCSs, especially in Europe, that were going so long. And people were just like, also, if they booked the venue until 7 PM, and the event's meant to finish at 5, and they finish at midnight, which has happened, you can't, like...
There's also I believe when they brought in the time rules was right around when they started paying judges. So, like, all of a sudden you have labor laws that have
overtime
something to
for
do with that.
many hours.
Yeah.
I did not consider that. But on
Those
the-
came in at the same time.
Okay, makes
Yeah.
sense. On the time rules, my pet peeve, I hate every deck that can win in time now, which is a lot of freaking decks now.
Yeah.
It's like a
Every
staple
deck now
in a
has
deck.
a mechanic where it
Yeah.
can potentially win in time. Prank Kids
That
has had it
pisses
for
me
a
off.
while.
Birds,
Sky
Game
Strikers
500,
has had
Prank
it for a
Kids,
while.
Sky
Florundaries
Strikers,
has
Birds.
it. Even
Something
Sword
else.
Soul.
Sword
Sword
Soul.
Soul. Bro,
Sword Soul
every
has it.
decent deck can do it.
Even Branded is going. Well, it has it now, but like
Yep.
it's only going to become relevant once the Arbet structure comes out.
Yeah.
Like
And that's going to be another meta deck. Branded, you can see in OCGs in fucking everything. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
Branded dick shoes.
I
doesn't
really
matter.
think, again, this is up for... It's
the
just,
time rules.
yeah, straight up. It's just personal, but I do think of everything, multiple printings would help the most. I think ban lists and multiple printing kind of go hand in hand where you're like, when do I spend money, when do I not spend money? And sure, we were talking about this, I'm sure Bragg was on this during Dark Arm format when Dark Arm was a fucking ridiculous amount of money. But I think we've hit this like mountain where it's just so expensive.
it is really expensive.
Prosperity
to buy
was
back
the
into
tipping
game.
point for me where I was like, this card is not good enough. It's not good enough to be
The
$500 a
price,
set.
yeah, the price you pay
it's
for
just
way
not
too
what
much.
it is,
Like,
it's way too
Extrav
much.
get you 2 cards.
Like, don't get me wrong, it's a good card,
$30.
but for it to be $430 a set,
Yep.
what are you talking about?
ridiculous.
Desires
Yep.
was, at the time, a
100.
infinitely better card, and it was $100.
It was 100
Yeah.
each. Easy.
Like,
Back then, like those cards had a ceiling of that much. That's just what you paid.
you just wouldn't pay any more.
Yeah.
Like, people wouldn't.
yeah. Just
But-
be like, no.
To be
cardboard.
fair, I think Dark Arm was like 180, right? 200?
Dark Arm was a lot. Tool Guide became a lot.
Dark Arms
Yeah.
are calm.
It
You'll
Bad
notice
format.
if you
Bad
go
format.
if you go back when we're interacting about Dark Arm, Loza makes eye contact with me and he goes Dark Arm, and I'm like Dark Arm, and no one else clicked on it.
Yeah. Oh.
But it's just the
crying.
card just warps the format and it makes every player that attracts to it bad.
I agree.
Dark
Yeah.
Arms was $350
Holy shit!
because it was one of 16 secret rares in a booster box that only had one secret rare per booster box.
Yeah.
Why did they do
Wait,
that?
Was this
Why?
around Gladiator's whole time?
Yeah.
Yeah, glass.
They just,
Wait,
they
was
just,
it actually glass?
no, that was Phantom Darkness.
Right, okay, but it had the same issues as Blade.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So if you wanted to play that deck, you had to have a hell of a lot of
So
money. to
in
play
theory, an
that.
original dad would be worth a
Yeah.
heap of money.
Yeah.
Currently,
Yeah.
look, realistically, I have no
Who's
sense
gonna
of
buy it? But
price on that card because the last time I saw one for sale was at Hawaii's, and that was 2 years ago. So
Yeah,
but
pretty much
but like
like it.
like it's not like I'm saying old Yu-Gi-Oh wasn't expensive. There were times where it was expensive.
It was just
but,
a different expensive, right?
yeah, but also you remember like we had ultis
Yeah.
were in main sets. So at the very
Yeah,
minimum
you had an ultra
ulti
as
and
like
a
the
secret.
thing you could buy into, and
yeah.
then
Ultras
ultis to buy
were
in.
secrets.
Oh, sorry.
Ultras
hold on,
were
hold on.
ultis.
So
Ultras
yeah,
were
there we go. Ultras, because I remember the thing I remember is Shadow.
Yeah.
Construct being an ulti and an ultra.
Yeah.
I think the ultras were like actually an okay price for literally the best deck. Like
Yeah.
it was not a bad price.
They also back then they also printed a lot of good cards as ultras because there were one secret per box, and you typically got your ultras was where your good stuff was.
Interestingly, on the Dark Arm thing, the ulti Dark Arm is like TCG, so one sold in the last 18 months probably, but like 500, 400 or 500 Australian.
Jesus.
Yeah,
But
the cards
there's
from those sets are so much money.
the Phantom Darkness one, the secret, it has just not sold in the last year because if it would have been on TCG.
Yeah.
It's just
No,
out of
it's
stock.
not
It just
selling.
hasn't. It
Yeah.
just there's no
for
sales
us,
record.
it says out of stock because no one ships to Australia.
Oh,
okay.
the first ed one would have been about $500.
Okay.
Yeah,
There
wow,
you go.
that's
Same
crazy.
as the ulti, really.
It's
Yeah.
it's ridiculous money. Like the Gladiators Assault ones, like Necroface is the one I always come to. That
Oh,
one is
yeah.
worth a whole lot of money. Like I've
Really?
got non-first ed ones, and I saw a non-first ed one sell not that long ago for $500. I picked mine up for 80 each.
Is it Necroface?
Necroface.
What?
Secret
I-
Necroface is big money.
I was saying the
they're
other day,
so
it's
pretty.
shocking like how big the collector market has gotten, which is honestly I'm fine with because again, not playable cards. So like if people want to spend $500-600 on an ulti Dark Law is what I keep coming back to because at the time they were like $80. Sure, like I don't actually hate it. Like that market can exist and people can spend that money on what they want. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
But
Well, that market exists in other games like Magic and Pokemon. The
Yeah.
issue with it in Yu-Gi-Oh is because unless they're banned, those cards are live forever. They just randomly become relevant,
Oh,
and
yeah.
therefore it fucks the market
Yeah.
because you've just had these collectors that have bumped up prices on cards that are suddenly playable, and then it's like, oh, you want to play this Necroface in your Thunder Dragon build? $1,500, please.
yeah.
Like it's that's the issue with that market in Yu-Gi-Oh is those cards randomly become relevant because the cards from 10 years ago are still technically live.
Like, so, point of context on the whole, like, money as a part of Yu-Gi-Oh thing. I don't know about you guys, but I've been on both sides of this argument as a competitive player. I spent probably about 2 to 3 years playing budget meta, and I feel like, at the end of the day, it made me a better player. Like,
I agree.
Yeah.
you
Okay.
learn to grit and grind in the game with trying to make budget options.
100%.
Like,
Yeah, it forces you to play to the best of your ability as
Yeah.
opposed to just playing the best possible cards that you can get your hands
That's
on.
that's
Yeah,
interesting.
Because you can't make
So-
a mistake when you're a budget player.
But
Yeah.
also your deck building's a bit different, right? Because you're
Yeah,
deck
you
building
have
to
to
the meta you
figure it out.
know, and
Exactly.
they're saying like I'm thinking about Yosenju's right now, and like Yosenju's came out with Necroz, like
Probably-
arguably like one of the best decks of all time, and I was like, how do I beat this? Let me work out how I beat this. Like okay, and you have to do it.
Yeah, like probably the one format where, as a budget player, I was allowed to just dominate was Spiral format,
That's
because
interesting. What were you playing?
Spiral. I was playing Spiral, but Spiral was cheap because I had just picked up the deck when it was all worthless.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then Double Helix got announced, and I just had to buy my Double Helixes.
And it was Ultra.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then
There's still a $40
like from my
Ultra.
booster
Yeah.
box.
By the way, that is still the biggest shock to me. I cannot believe they didn't make
that,
the secret.
That should have been a secret.
We were certain at the time it was going to be a
Wait,
secret.
was that Circuit Break?
Yeah,
Evenly was the secret there, right?
yeah.
Evenly was such a crazy card as well.
Even then, you just kind of budgeted around it.
I mean,
like, as
Time
a
Gate
player
Wizard
time.
existed.
Yeah.
and
I
you
played
just went-
one evenly in one of my YCSs because I got hold of one. I think you had one of the other ones.
Yeah.
We like both had it evenly. You might have had two, but I had one.
Yeah.
Do you remember the day of Regio?
Which YCS? ABC YCS?
No, Spiral YCS.
Melbourne?
Yeah. Do you remember what that person did with their evenly?
you're unlocking things in my brain that have been like dormant.
So this person who plays at our locals, who shall remain nameless, also entered the Melbourne YCS. He is known as a terrible player. He got his entry packs and pulled it evenly.
Oh my, yeah.
Well done him. Good work. Put it in his bag, unsleeved, and completely ruined it.
And this is like,
Jammed
again,
it in there.
it's like the chase secret because we're going into a YCS where we know it's all spiral.
You
It's
would have
just
had
all
sleeves
spiral.
from your deck. You could just unsleeve one of the common pieces
put it in
of
a
shit
deck
in your
box, it doesn't
deck
matter.
and just
That's so
put it in a
stupid,
sleeve.
I am glad Konami, I assume it's some kind of body in Oceanic region that decides where we have our YCSs. I'm glad they did that once and went, nah, back to Sydney.
It's fine for Nats,
Yeah.
not for a YCS.
Which is really
It was a
interesting
fun
because Pokemon
trip.
did the opposite. Pokemon saying like they love their Melbourne event and it's in the middle of the city and everyone has a great time.
Because hipsters play Pokemon.
Oh fuck, true.
True.
Yeah,
True.
Yeah, it's true.
True. That's the biggest hindrance to Yu-Gi-Oh! Is holding it anywhere else is because the biggest majority of our players are in New South Wales.
Yeah.
It immediately reduces the amount of people that will go.
Like it just took 300 off the limit at
I
minimum.
think it was more.
I think it was
the
more.
day.
The other thing is too, like, and this is just from my timeline in the game, it was the YCS previous to that was the 175th where they had the specialty mats.
Yes.
That one impacted my thought about how reduced that YCS was because that one was such a bumped up event
It's
because of the
huge, yeah.
pricing available, the
And
token
token
booth that
booth,
they didn't
yeah.
have before.
Token booth.
The mat was heaps chase because
Yeah.
A was Dark Magician and B was an anniversary
175.
type
Yes,
mat.
Yeah.
that was the best YCS.
So that one had like 11, or maybe just over 1,000 people enter, and then we went to Melbourne and it was like 300. I'm like, oh, this place is a ghost town.
Yeah, they
It did
and
feel
they
that
had
way.
set up the same amount of tables, expecting there to be over 1,000,
Yep.
and then
Guys.
empty.
More so, just slightly to the question as well. I do
Yeah,
think
back to that.
when you're talking about playing Rogue, especially
Not necessarily
No,
rogue,
it's not even
but
rogue, right?
budget meta.
Yeah, budget.
So like
budget.
you have the core, but like
the
you don't have
staples are
Ash
a
Blossoms
bit
or-
tough.
Yeah.
like those
Yeah.
staple 3-ofs that are money cards. You
Yeah.
you can't afford, so you have to play those backup options that
And
sit around.
I think where I would kind of sit with people having a problem with meta and meta always existing and like the funny comment we had in the group chat of just ban all meta and shit like this. I think if you give players access to the cards somewhat, access to, and again, I hate to harp on, but like Pokemon just did it. The set that just came out has a card that will be relevant for the next 2 years. It isn't a question. The card is going to be relevant for the next 2 years. The basic version is $30 right now. On release, like a week after release, it is $30 right now. The most expensive version of that card is $180. No problem. Do both. The fact that we have an event coming up and I don't have to worry about being jammed on by that deck and how good it is because I can just get the $30 version means that I'm not going to sit here and complain about, oh, well, I went to an event and got absolutely dumpstered by Necroz 8 rounds in a row because they had $2,000 to spend on their deck and I didn't. And it's
Yeah.
like, yes, it's very cool to play budget meta and I believe in that, but there are things you can do to reduce how hard that is to do.
Oh yeah,
Especially when it comes to
Yeah,
staples. Like
yeah.
I like the idea of like the cores being super cheap, and I guess it will take too long in this podcast, but we could have a discussion on like them shifting from high rarity staples from having the most expensive cards be the archetype cards, and that shift that happened with like Necroz and all that shit.
Yeah.
onwards.
Sadly, the way Konami's mentality is around that kind of stuff is if we're printing it low rarity, we're going to hit it on a ban list. Like
that's
you
interesting,
get
yeah.
Pankratops common, limited.
Because
You get called by
that
the
thought
grave,
process is like you
common,
didn't spend too much
limited.
money on it, so you shouldn't be that worried about us hitting it.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, right?
Destiny
Because
Fusion 3.
like
Drytron,
you get
as
expensive
a whole.
staples. You get expensive staples. The benefit is that like they're not as likely to be hit in a ban list. It's
Yeah.
not all that off. Like Pot of Desires is like the first staple card to be hit in the TCG.
You could have bought
for the
Ashes as
longest time.
secrets on release, and they would have been the best value for money in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Like
Yeah.
The secrets are $100 each.
one of the many regrets that I have is like not buying imperms on day of
Secret
launch on
imperms,
imperms
yeah. I wish
because
I
like
bought all
in
the
the
salad
room people
structure
were selling them
decks.
for 60 at sneak peek.
I wish I just bought
And it's
every
like-
salad structure deck I saw because those ashes
Oh,
are selling
yeah.
for like 30 to 40. The
Yeah.
commons. It's like,
Yeah.
But what's crazy is that I think like it gets into a good place after 4 years, where there's like a bunch of versions, and sure, Ash is still $20 for like the cheapest version, but for a card that's as good as it is in certain formats, I think that's fine. I think $20 for a staple is okay.
Yeah. But the issue I'm getting to is, sure, it's the issue is obviously you've got expensive staples, so it's a lot to buy into the stuff that you kind of need to play the game at a certain level, but at the same time they're safe from the ban list. The opposite thing is, if you go back to archetypal expenses, you've got the best deck being the most expensive. You're paying like the $180, $200 you're paying for dad and all that kind of stuff, but it's limited in terms of when and how long you can play it, because you've literally paid into the most expensive deck. You're more likely to win because of that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that deck needs to be addressed because of the way that this works. There's no rotation. You're not guaranteed to have it for a certain amount of time. It's basically as long as that deck is good, there's potential for it to get hit. So then you've lost money on that investment.
Right, but then so what you're saying is the problem is you're entrusting Konami to hit it properly.
Yeah.
To say like you get this long with it, because genuinely the entire of like the last like the first 15 years really did feel like we knew how long you would get with a deck roundabout, and everyone would say, all right, we've had this deck for about long enough, I'm not going to buy into it now because we've had it for 9 months and it's been a top 3 deck for about 9 months.
Konami also tended to kill decks when they were doing it.
Yeah, you know what, that's a fair point.
You didn't
they
get,
did
like,
take it out
white
back
hits.
and just be like, good
The
night.
format
Yeah,
of
it
the
wasn't
ban list
that-
after Orcus format.
You'd get like
The fucking
Spellbook of Judgment banned,
Yeah.
as opposed to like Spellbook
um,
of Judgment Limited, Blue
What?
Boy 2, Secrets 2.
Yeah.
It
There's-
was just Judgment.
I don't know if I'm allowed to. Do you remember Genocide ban list that was like Shadol's dead, Necroz's dead, BA lived, Klee's dead. I woke up and like looked at my phone and like I woke up at about 9 o'clock and went. I just like went back to sleep because I was like, everything's dead. Like, don't worry about it. They just wiped 3 decks and they just went, no more.
Well, the issue was, because this was like right as I was starting to get into the game again,
We were like, what the fuck?
they did that and then were like, here's Pepe.
Oh, yeah. So this is the this is the thing.
So like
Right.
there was nothing to compete with it, because they
Yes.
did that and were like, so Breakers of Shadow comes out in like 3 weeks. What do you guys plan on playing?
You know what's so funny? I actually
Hang
compared
on.
Brilliant Stars to Bosch. Like, I was like, oh, yo, it's coming out a week before literally the first major event in the world. Oh, this is going to be like $100 each. No, multiple printings just takes care of it. It just takes care of it. Like, it really does.
Yeah.
Especially when they're, like, easy to pull. But if they think it will affect their sales, again, I guess they're not looking at OCG. And this might be a good swag way.
I was going to say, in OCG, I should say, like, Yu-Gi-Oh's within the top 5 of card games that have
It's
fallen
really, it's
into.
it's actually decently popular. Like, it's quite
I
good.
believe it's Yu-Gi-Oh is second.
I think it's really high.
Yeah, I wasn't 100% sure. I was fairly confident it was top 3, but I know it's top 5.
Because I know Magic's not a top 3
No,
card game
not
over
in
there.
not in
It's like
Japan.
5th.
Damn, they're
I think it's Weiss.
Weiss is
I think
right
it's
up there.
Weiss, Yu-Gi-Oh, Vanguard, Pokemon.
So 2019 to 2020.
Yep.
So just that period. Yu-Gi-Oh is actually number 1.
Oh, okay.
Shit.
Wow.
So 2019 all the way to the end of 2020. Yu-Gi-Oh, Duel Masters. Where's
What?
Luke? Where's
it's,
Luke?
It's huge because
Where's
it never
Luke?
stopped over there. It
Um,
kept going.
I
Pokemon.
played that.
Weiss Schwartz. Nonsense. Battle Spirits.
Where Digimon?
MTG. Digimon hadn't come out yet.
Yeah.
MTG
Okay.
Vanguard.
Wow, imagine being that low.
but like-
Sucked in magic.
But you'd think...
28% of all TCG sales in Japan are Yu-Gi-Oh.
So you'd think you would look at that and go, okay, they have multiple printings, they have, at least to an extent, a similar ban list function to ours, similar formats to ours, granted a little bit earlier. Why don't we just do the same sort of set releases we do for them? Multiple rarities so that people can buy in at whatever level they want.
You've got your Starlights,
Because
you've
high
got
rarity
Secrets.
horse will still fucking go for it.
They are. Like, we're seeing with Secrets and Starlights aren't played because they're ridiculously priced, but people are
don't
chasing
play
them.
them.
Yeah,
But
people
people
will
are
still buy
chasing
them.
them. People
Yeah.
are buying
Yeah.
them and on release paying
So,
five,
yeah,
six
Put
hundred
in the
bucks.
top loader and they sit on the bench.
Part of the issue with like TCG Yu-Gi-Oh is like the culture of buying singles is so prevalent though.
Yeah.
So like a lot of those people that are like chasing Starlights aren't opening packs to pull those starlights. They're buying the singles on the secondary market from other people.
Because it's absolutely more financially
Yeah.
beneficial to just
Oh,
not
yeah.
keep opening packs until you pull
If
one
the
of
hit rate on them was like significantly better, but the card was only worth $100,
Sure.
you'd probably see people opening packs more. But the fact that it's like not that
It's
easy.
also worth noting, because I don't want to say like it's like the holy grail is to print multiple rarities. Magic Standard is printing multiple rarities out the arse. There is like 5 versions of the same card, which has been incredible for the players and really bad for the collectors. We've seen collectors not want to buy product because there's just no money to hit. Because they've gone so far off the deep end with like 3 different types of packs. They'll go like a normal pack, a double, like a more rare pack, and then a fully foil collector's pack. Product is still selling out, but people are just less happy with it because you can't hit the money you used to be able to hit. So there is a balance with it, but it's so good for the players. You can buy like the most meta deck in Magic for $100. Flat, easy.
I feel like
But-
maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like collectors wouldn't open packs, right? They'd probably buy stuff on the second-hand market.
Not collectors. I just mean people who like to open product.
Oh, okay,
people who like to hoard product
was
and
gonna
like
say,
keep
like,
product.
Surely
It's
you
just
just cater to the players and be
Yeah.
like, collectors, they don't give us
because
their
there is
money,
like a section of
who
I don't know if it
cares?
happens in it doesn't really happen in Yu-Gi-Oh, but there's a section of the audience that's like audience
know
that
heaps of
just
people who just
they
buy
just
Magic-
buy heaps of
Pokemon-
packs. Yeah, they just
Pokemon
buy
packs.
packs and they're just
They
like
don't play.
I want to try and crack the
Buy
cards I
them.
want to crack and
Yeah.
open a bunch of money.
Yeah.
It's just there is a balancing act there that they have gone really far off the deep end because they're like, do you want to pay like really? Would you pay 3 times the price for a box if you were guaranteed a secret every pack?
Maybe.
Would you
Every
pay
pack.
$350
Oh,
for a box, 24 packs, but you're guaranteed a secret every pack, and
Yeah.
there's like the same 15, 16 secret slots.
it seems pretty good.
That seems decent. Actually, yeah. If you apply that to Yu-Gi-Oh,
Like,
the
you
closest that we've
probably
ever had
would.
to that was when we had the first Basil Legend.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
when you
First
cracked
Battle
that,
Legend was so cool.
that was one of the best.
it was
sets
the
ever
taste.
printed.
It was the taste of like, oh, we could like this could be like
Yeah.
a standard, and we could get like good reprints.
That
all
was
the time.
essentially Konami just turning around and being like, hey guys, we're essentially just selling you every card in the set, but you'll get 4 of them twice. Will they be a bad 4? Who knows? Will they be the good 4? I also feel as though the 4 were like either the good 4 or the bad 4. I didn't see anyone getting like middle ground.
Mid-mix.
Yeah.
You either got like Minerva, Crystal Wing, Omega something, or you got the Synchro Fishes, and then like 2 other things.
I don't even remember the bad cards from it. I just remember the amount of good cards in it.
I
Yeah.
believe
Shut
you
up, Josh.
bottomed out the Synchro Fishes. How
The
dare you.
Synchro Fishes, one of them got good eventually. But
My poor white aura whale. I can't
Yeah.
believe it.
so I think I had like one other thing to
Didn't
point out
Cold-
on the
Yeah.
Paul Pelicans thing. My kind of thing onto how you could make Yu-Gi-Oh better for like new players. That was the question. Was make Yu-Gi-Oh
Yeah.
better for new players
Oh, for both sides.
for both sides.
Yeah, the game better.
Realistically, it's Konami taking structured X more seriously. Like
Yeah.
shit, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Konami
fair call.
is actively
Oh,
Konami
ABCs
in
was so
the
good.
TCG is intentionally making structured X worse to protect the value of other product.
Yeah.
Whereas Structured X should be treated more seriously to be the introduction for players. Like, you look at Salad format. That was an unnerfed Structured Deck, and anyone could just pick up 3 and have a very competitive deck. The only thing you needed to buy was Sunlight Wolves, and they were like an $8
They were
rare
rare,
because of it. But, like,
Okay.
And maybe
You
an
have-
access code. Like,
oh, that wasn't out yet.
oh, it
that
wasn't
didn't come
out.
out. That didn't
Oh,
come out
shit.
for like another
Oh,
year.
then you were good.
Like,
So,
yeah,
like-
OG Salad didn't use
Yeah,
that.
didn't even
Yeah.
use it.
Like,
Wow.
That was the one time where it's been like perfect. But
Yeah.
ever since then, even
Shadowrun
Structured X
wasn't
with
bad.
good staples, Shadowrun was great. It was
Yeah.
another time when perfect deck.
That's probably it though.
Yeah.
Dino.
Dino was good.
They
you
did
just need
kind
to
of
get
nerf some of the Shadow one though. To be fair,
Yeah.
the cards that they took out from the OCG,
Oh, that they always freaking.
because they always change the cards that they reprint in the OCG. The OCG is like, oh, this card doesn't reprint in a while. Let's have a random common or super.
Yeah.
The TCG is just like,
It actually does bother me they have like a very good like model there in Japan where card games are enormous, and they're not even testing the waters on doing it. And not only that, they took it away. Like, who remembers them saying printing ultis was too expensive and that's why they were stopping?
Yes.
Get fucked.
Yeah.
So cancer.
to wrap up the point, yeah, like side structure decks which already aren't good are having like the good staples removed from them, and then like we tend to just get one a
Dark
year if
Ruler.
we're lucky of a good starter deck. Elbaz hopefully will be the change to this, where we will get a buy 3 and go structure deck.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels like it's been so long since we've had a grab 3 and go.
Branded
Because like
Fusion,
we
yeah.
had Monarchs, then we
ABC.
had Monarchs, Dinos.
Monarchs,
You're
Dinos,
gonna say ABC.
Then we went,
Shadows,
ABC,
Salamander.
because that was we had a
it's
good
about
run there.
five.
So it
Yeah.
was like
It's not very
Monarchs into ABC,
Yeah.
into Dino, into. It was a little bit of a wait between when we hit Salad, because I think in the meantime we got
There was
Counter
some-
Fairies.
There was
and
some fucking garbage
other
in
shit.
between.
Yeah, that really
Then we
was.
hit Salad. That was February 2017, 2018. Then February 2019 we got Shadol,
Mm-hmm.
and then Radio
And I
Silence.
will say, genuinely, to back you up, that is probably the question I get asked most people from Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
In store,
What
and
can
I'm
I
sure
just-
you get the same.
I get the
Where
same.
it's like, I want to play the game. Let me, like, it happens in Magic a lot where I want to get into this. My friends are into it. What can I do?
Yeah.
And when a Shadol structure deck is out or a Dino structure deck, I get to go.
Grab
Literally,
3.
you want to spend $60?
Go.
You're
This
good.
is a great
like,
product for you to start with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and,
like-
and it feels really good to be able to do that.
When we had the reprint of the Dino structure deck, that was something that got a lot of like kids into the game, where they'd be like, "Oh, my friends are playing it. What should I do?" And I'd be like, "Buy one of these. Come back with your pocket money in another 2 weeks. Buy another one, and you'll just make your deck better as you go.
Yeah.
And you will be fine. You'll destroy your friends if you know how to build this semi-competently,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick.
and then
go.
away you go."
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've had like a just grab and go product. So hopefully the Albaz structure is the change in that, if we ever fucking get it.
I'll be interested to see what Master Duel does to it as well,
Give me
because
brand
Master Duel haven't. So Duel Links, the
Duel
idea
Links.
was Duel Links. Was that right?
Duel Links?
There's so many different, but Duel Links apparently from like a Business Insider thing I was given by my tutor was like Duel Links had a negative effect on the TCG because Duel Links was doing so well that they.
Yep.
Tended to shift a lot of the workforce to Duel Links and just leave
That was
the
surprising.
TCG running in the cycle that it was.
Yeah.
I can probably find the article and link
People
it
talk
if
shit
people
about
want
it.
to read it. But
People
I'd be
don't.
curious because Master Duel I think will be hyper popular. If I think we will see a lot more of the like what we had last week of like
Yeah.
I got back in because I can play a good deck and not spend.
It's very
You
cheap.
know,
Well, there's
like-
that, and we're still in this period where a lot of people can't comfortably leave their homes because
that's
some
true.
places are still in a very bad way
Yeah.
for one reason or another, and it's just a more convenient way for them to play. It's not high investment; it's more time than money, if
Yep.
anything else, so they can comfortably play. So it will be interesting to see what impact that has, and whether that does shift sort of focus from the TCG more, which I hope it doesn't.
I mean,
'Cause there's already very
we
little
could
focus
get
on what's
some
happening.
really cool other stuff from it. Like I would be keen for everybody to watch a huge tournament like Worlds on Master Duel if
That'd
they
be great.
produced it correctly and they had like a good setup and like I know. But realistically, like
There's two
with
things
that,
you said
with that
there that
kind
are
of
a problem.
client, with that kind of client, you could do it, and you could get like really good casters. You could have a good event, and like again from home, you don't have to fly 12 people to Japan and then have like a not like a half thrown together fucking live
There's so many
stream.
poker machines that can do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Exactly.
no, sorry, they were paying for like weren't they not paying for most of them? I swear to God, they didn't pay most people to go out. Or they
They
paid for the flights and not the hotels. It was one of the two. I remember
They
the
paid
money
for
being a
both.
weird thing.
Yeah. They didn't get expenses paid.
Okay. I forget what I saw anyway. But it would be cool and I
That
like
triggers me so much.
it would be nice to see.
I remember.
But-
Yeah, for sure.
I remember
don't know
the
that-
Worlds where I think it was Gabe was the North American champion, but he was 17. So he invited Team Samurai to be his guardian. Because Team Samurai got
Oi,
free
oi,
flights.
oi, King. Dude, that's sick. That's it's kind of sad, but like, is it kind of sad? It's okay because Pokemon has that system where if you get a number of points, they'll fly you to Worlds. Juniors have that system, and because outside of the US, nobody plays juniors. Like, there is a very small group, like at a big event for Pokemon. So there's 24 people or 26 people for a cup in adults. There'll be 4 juniors, and top 4 or top 8 juniors get points. So you'll see a lot of parents who also play Pokemon get their kids be into the game, and they just get free flights everywhere, and free, and then they get expenses. They get to whatever, either Washington and then London will be this year. But so many families are just like, my child beat one other kid who couldn't play the game because I bought his deck, and now I get free flights to the UK.
Hold up, Blake. Wouldn't you rather a Nintendo Switch?
No. A PS4, dude. I remember being
An
told
out-of-date
Luke.
PS4.
I remember being told Luke Parks, or was it Marcelo? I think Marcelo was owed like 4 PS4s at one point. I remember being told a high European player was owed like 4 or 5 PS4s.
Do you know he has a house in Italy and France?
His jokes though, I actually love him casting. His jokes, I like it a lot. Also, the thing he does is I've seen him actively call out other casters for being fuckheads. Like, they'll say something wrong, and he's like, I wouldn't do that. But anyway, and then just keep talking. I'm like, yeah, don't let him say stupid lines. I love it.